Milo from San Diego, California asks, Merlin, how do you feel about the use of recreational drugs and alcohol and how they are affecting today's citizens? I told my fellow wizard Radagast the Brown that I was going to be answering this question, and he bet his wand I wouldn't be able to answer it properly in less than 3 minutes. So, we'll see. When we use healthy food and water in our bodies, those are sustaining and we require those for life. Everything else we put inside our bodies could certainly be considered a recreational drug. For example, cookies and cakes, yum. Some people like to drink coffee and some people like to drink tea. And there may be some medicinal effect of some of these things, but mostly it's for pleasure, short-term pleasure. And hopefully, when we do those things, there are no long-term results that would cause us the opposite of pleasure. I'm going to frame my response to this question on a spectrum. On one end is self-destructive addiction, and way on the other end is a means to get closer to spiritual enlightenment. Another way to look at it is, one end of the spectrum is avoiding reality, and the other end is embracing reality. Or you could look at it as, on one end, random use for whatever of whatever, and on the other end, very conscious, intentional use of a substance. Another important factor in this issue is legal versus illegal, and that depends on what substance we're talking about, where you are, and of course how old you are. Some substances are clearly all about self-destructive addiction. Yes, they give short-term pleasure, I imagine, but oh my, the implications of all that, and the possibility of overdosing and leading to death. Some substances are clearly all about taking steps towards spiritual enlightenment, and those are the ones that come from ancient cultures that have learned over millennia to harvest specific vines and fungi and cacti and use them under shamanic guidance to achieve amazing results of expansion of awareness. And those require great, great care to use properly. And there are many, many substances then, which I don't need to name because you know of many of them, that can either be used with focused intent or can be used with random whatever because your friend said that it would be really cool to do that. And those are very different experiences. So then there are pharmaceutical drugs, and when you think of them, you might think about a doctor writing out a prescription because you've got something wrong with you and you need relief. A lot of people these days are taking oxycodone for pain relief, but there are side effects for many of them. Okay, Radagast, it's been 3 minutes. I owe you a wand. People may find themselves in terrible panic attacks as a result of taking oxycodone. And when they tell their doctor, the doctor may say, okay, so now take Ativan, which will counteract the panic attacks. And then some people get worse panic attacks, and other people just get addicted to one or both of those drugs or other drugs like those. And then when they can't get them anymore from the doctor, they find other ways to get those drugs and go into that cycle of self-destructive addiction, even with drugs that with prescription are legal. So in some ways, those are recreational drugs too, and they can lead to self-destructive addiction. And how all this affects the citizens is so much about how all this affects you in your own life and the people around you. So be aware, be sensitive. That's a great way to live. And don't eat too much ice cream. Video making is hard work.